Hello and welcome to the Powerful Personal Brand Podcast. I am your host, Claire Bahn, and on today's show, I am very excited to welcome Sébastien Page. Sébastien is the head of Global Multi-Asset and Chief Investment Officer at Rowe Price, where he oversees over more than $5 billion in assets. He is also the author of a new book, The Psychology of Leadership, which explores how psychological principles can help leaders improve performance, resilience, and long-term success. So on today's episode, we're going to be exploring how these principles discussed in his book translate into the way leaders build credibility and show up through their personal brand. Sébastien, welcome to the show.
Claire, I'm super excited. I'm super
Yeah.
excited for two reasons. But of
Okay.
course, I love talking about leadership for sure, but also talking about brand and personal brand. So I've been looking forward to this.
Awesome. Well, so excited to have you here. So one of the things that I think, you've been in the workforce for a while, say, 15, 20 years, been in the workforce. And there's been I used to be in New York, financial services, all that sort of stuff. And there was just a different way that people led, right? So people were there for a long time and then they were just tapped and they became management, whether they were good at managing people or not. Has that changed?
It's so fascinating that you're starting with a question about financial services. I could go on and on about financial services. I've been 25 years in money management. And the question you just pointed to about an individual contributor getting promoted to become a manager, not because they're a great leader, really, just because they're really good individual contributor. This is a problem in money management. It's a problem in a lot of industries where expertise is the deliverable, where you deliver value to clients through expertise. We look at people that perform really well. It could be even a salesperson. And we go, hey, you're really good. Why don't you just manage a team and make them as good as you? But that transition is tricky, Claire, because people aren't trained to be leaders and we don't think of them, prepare them to actually be leaders. And I've seen it fail many, many times. You go from being a player to a coach, but you still think you're a player, and it creates all sorts of issues.
Yes. I mean, I've seen it from a standpoint of like clients that are kind of resistant to what it means to be the leader. Like it's not only that you have to lead the team, but you also have to be the face.
Yeah.
You have to be out in front. I mean, I see that, you've been on many, lots of press for yourself. Like that's your job. So building a personal brand is not really something you can shy away from as you kind of get higher and higher. It becomes more important because it's also important if you're a great leader and you're out there, you can also attract good people to your team.
You have to have, look, it's what you're saying is super important. You have to have a personal brand, especially as a leader internally. You're going to speak in public. And believe it or not, people are really going to be watching and taking their cues from you. A famous story is the leader started wearing cufflinks, and within 3 weeks, everybody in the team was wearing cufflinks, right? People take their cues from you. So your personal brand, if you're not mindful about it, then it will become something that maybe you're not even aware of internally. And then a lot of leadership jobs, especially at the top echelons, also involve having a public-facing brand. And this is tricky because your podcast is about personal brand, and this mixes in with company brand as well. When there's expertise, like in financial services, you have leaders talk about financial markets, talk about their business. They represent the company, but they also represent themselves. Think Jamie Dimon, one of the best CEOs in America, probably. Well, sometimes you'll hear Jamie Dimon speak in the media and you really can tell it's Jamie Dimon. Other times he's speaking really much more as the CEO of JP Morgan. And when it gets to that level, the two kind of converge, the personal brand and the company brand. These are issues all companies have to navigate. My takeaway is that it's helpful for leaders to be more aware of the personal brand they're projecting to be more thoughtful about it, to listen to your
Mhm.
podcast, in other words, because if they don't, people will create a brand for them.
Yeah, and it may not be what they want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, most leaders like to be inspirational,
Mhm.
like to set long-term vision for the organization, and this is important, like to be industry leaders as well.
Mhm.
If you're running a company and you want your company to be successful, it doesn't have to be a big company. You want to contribute to the dialogue in the industry. And I don't care what the industry is. You're
Yeah.
making widget, you want to be a voice of widget making. It's clear in financial services, but it applies to all industries.
Yeah.
Having an industry level voice that promotes the expertise, yes, of you, of your personal brand, but also of your company.
Mhm.
And here's the tricky part. You don't want to
Okay.
be too salesy. This is not
No.
selling. This is not
No.
selling. This
Yeah.
is influencing the way people think about your product or your services across the industry. You know the cheesy word we use, Claire, for that?
Hmm. What?
It's thought leadership. You hear a lot of this,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
a
yeah.
broad word. I don't really
Right.
like using it too much. But thought leadership is a huge part of people's leaders' personal
Yeah.
brand and then of their presence in the industry. Ultimately, what we want, what we all want, if I have leaders that report to me,
Mhm.
I want them to have a strong personal brand that contributes to the brand of the company that's
Right.
consistent, but especially with social media marketing, that reflects their own personality. People want
Yeah.
authenticity.
Well, I mean, the thing, like you were talking about the leaders, because I think that. So I have two questions. One is you were saying that a leader should be inspirational. I think that there's a problem with that in that I want to be inspirational, and then there's a thought like I'm inspirational, so I'm going to get on my soapbox and preach to
Yeah.
you. You're welcome, and you're like,
Yeah.
who is this person in my feed? You're so annoying. There's a
Yeah.
difference between actually being inspirational
Yeah.
and inspiring people, like you said about the cufflinks, inspiring them to look better, do better. I feel like I do that with my team. The feedback that I hear, they want to show up better. They want to do more, because they see
Yeah.
me working and hustling. And like I think that there's what's the psychology behind like I want to be inspirational and I'm doing inspirational things, but no one's inspired, and I just am inspirational.
Yeah, two things there. One, what it means to be an inspirational leader. And two, look, there's a question of authenticity that you're raising here.
Mm,
Let's start with what it means to be an inspirational leader. It's not complicated. I explain this in the psychology of leadership. The number one job of a leader is to set the long term goals for the organization. If you don't do it as the leader, who's going to do it?
yeah.
That's your goal. Show the organization the direction of travel. Everyone in every business tends to think short term. We're wired that way. There's no way around
Mhm.
it because the short term is right in front of us.
Yeah.
You want to be an inspirational leader? Think 3 years ahead, 5 years ahead. And you know what? I have a 10-year vision for my business.
Hmm.
10-year vision. Set the long term goal.
Yeah.
Then you need to bring people along. And that's also part of being inspirational. The
Yeah.
vision needs to
I
be
like
clear.
that.
It needs to be clear. It needs to be measurable. It needs to be something that rallies the troops. It needs to
Mhm.
be something you can say in one sentence. We're going to be in the top 3 widget makers of widget making
Yeah.
industry. And whatever the
Right.
goal is, make it measurable, make it tangible, make it
Yeah.
catchy, make it simple,
Right.
rally the organization around it. You don't
Yeah.
need to oversimplify because from that big brand, this branding around your goal,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
will follow sub goals and then a plan of action. A
Yeah.
lot of what leadership is about is working backwards.
Yeah.
You look at a long-term target, you work backwards. What's it going to take us to get there? So
Mhm.
that's the role of the leader. You set the goal and then you bring people along. on authenticity, it's tempting to want to be inspirational and to use buzzwords and say energy, collaboration, winning, whatever
Do
you're.
what somebody else does,
Yeah,
copying.
try to
Yeah.
mimic others'
Yeah.
style. And people see through that.
Yeah. So
You know
that's
what
when
the
someone's uninspiring, right? Is
Yeah,
that kind of,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm going to give you something that's really counterintuitive from the psychology of leadership,
Okay.
from the book itself. Leaders that show confidence, they're able to say two things that don't feel right when you say them. Number one, they're able to say, I was wrong.
Mm.
That builds authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to do. It's vulnerability, but very counterintuitively, it's actually strength.
Yeah.
Being in front of your team, we all have egos. We all want to get it right all the time. No one does. Looking at your team with confidence and say, I got this wrong. Here's
Mm-hmm.
why. Here's what I think we should do about it. Credibility. This is authentic behavior. And the second thing that's very hard for leaders to do is to say, I don't know. People
Yeah.
ask you a question. Instead of making up an answer and trying to sound inspirational with buzzwords, if you're able to say, I don't know, period, end of sentence, then say what you're going to do about it.
Yeah.
Those two things are very
Don't give a
counterintuitive.
politician answer.
No, it's the opposite. And you know
Exactly.
why? Do you think we trust politicians?
No, because
Right? You helped me make my point here.
Well, so when you were talking about inspirational leaders, I'm a big fan of Drives to Survive F1. I don't know if you like F1. Have you seen Drive to Survive? And the team principles. You hate like Christian Horner, and they got rid of him last year, and all these things, and like you have the ones you love to hate, and you have Toto Wolff that's always seems like an inspirational person, even when they were kind of at a low point. And there was the new guy, I cannot remember his name. They just got rid of him out of Audi. And I remember seeing him last season going like, he's so meek, like literally going like, I don't believe that he's going to get them to where they need to be. He sounded like the Geico Gecko. That's literally what came to my mind. And I mean, I think there's really something to that where you can really rally the troops. I'm a new leader. I'm stepping into this role. You may have been burned by something in the past, and it's a little bit scary, but you have to, I mean, is it kind of sometimes fake it till you make it? Is that a little,
Okay, okay. I take your counterpoint and I agree with it. You can't just go around being ultra vulnerable and saying, I don't know, I was wrong. I don't know, I was wrong.
Yeah,
You don't have credibility. You need the energy. You need the confidence, but don't fake it either.
Yeah.
It's a balance.
Okay.
And being able to say, I was wrong, I don't know, in the context of following with, this is why, this is what I'm going to do about it, this is what we should do. So there's nuance here.
Yeah.
People want energy and enthusiasm. I've known leaders, one of the smartest leaders I've worked with in my career had a background as an analyst.
Mm-hmm.
And phenomenal IQ, but would approach every situation as an analyst very clinically. And the issue was that when things were going badly, as a skilled analyst, you would focus on it, put the spotlight on it, analyze it, and forget all the things that are going well. Well, we're talking about inspirational leadership. Hey, you do need to be a cheerleader sometimes.
Yeah.
And you have to generally believe in the organization and the mission. And you know what? Okay, I'm pontificating about authenticity. Sometimes you're going to have a bad day. You didn't sleep well. Your dog was sick. My dog was sick yesterday.
Right.
It's a bad day. You got to show up and have the energy to reiterate the mission and fire up the troops. So I don't watch the show that you're talking about.
You should see it. It's a good one. I was thinking, I don't know all of their names, but there was the gentleman that came in after in Red Bull after Christian Horner was fired, and I can't remember his name, French gentleman, and it was just like a big hole. Like they've been doing horribly all season. He literally came in. You looked like you believed he could turn it around, and he did.
Yeah.
And you're
Look,
like,
there's
how could you do? I mean, it was kind of shocking because I'd never seen, you know what I mean? But you believed that he could do it.
Yeah, I get it. There's
Yeah,
style and style matters, and there is
yeah,
substance. And I bet you that person had substance as well.
hmm
Elon Musk is interesting because he's not a good presenter,
yeah.
really.
I
His
mean,
delivery is
I
not.
feel like isn't he like kind of not ADHD, but he I can't. Uh,
There is a
can't
diagnosis that's in
yeah.
Walter Isaacson's biography, which is more towards maybe bipolar.
Okay.
It's not entirely clear. There clearly is a lot going on. But my point is, he will say things that are inspirational. We want to get to Mars, for example.
hmm
And it's a lot of substance. And the substance is so fascinating that the style almost doesn't matter. Other
Yeah.
people are very heavy on style, very low on substance.
hmm
It's really good to have both. It's that
Yeah.
simple.
I mean, it seems like you can learn to do as long as you kind of keep the authenticity there, you can learn to do better in one of the areas where you're kind of lacking. Do you agree? I mean, that's why I read your book, right?
It's all learnable. It's
Yeah.
all learnable. People think you're born with it. I look
Yeah.
at personality traits in the psychology of leadership: openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, which is essentially what we're talking about. That's part of the
hmm
style, neuroticism. And those traits are about 35% heritable. So you
hmm
get them from your parents, your genetics,
hmm
but a ton of it is learnable. Not clear.
mm
How crazy is that? It means you can
Mhm.
hack your personality.
Yeah. Well, I
And
mean,
that's
I think
interesting. And it speaks to your point about developing the skills, even if you
yeah.
think you're not born with them.
I think that that's an important part. I think the other thing that I personally think is important in a leader and, building your brand is having to learn things. And you're saying like it's saying you don't know, but ultimately kind of building your brand, it's a new thing for everyone. Then when they start it, it's always new. It's always different. You have to learn
Yeah.
and you might fail and it might, like the did you see the CEO of McDonald's with his post that he did that went
Yeah,
viral
that
for
was
all the
that
wrong
that was bad.
reasons.
He called the
I
burger a
mean,
product.
I know it was so strange. It was strange. But like honestly, at least he in one sense too, at least he did something.
Yeah, this is the risk. Social
Yeah.
media wants authenticity.
Mhm.
The perhaps most powerful thing I've ever done from a personal branding, it ended up actually dovetailing with our corporate brand, was unplanned, unexpected, and it is the one thing in all my media activities that I walk into a room randomly at a business meeting and that people bring up to me.
Mhm.
During COVID, I published a book in finance. It was a complicated book. It
Okay.
got great ratings, but then all of a sudden, I got a couple ratings that hurt my feelings, Claire. 1 star, 2 stars. I was
Yeah.
sitting there reading the reviews, and they were saying, "This is too complicated. I don't understand any of this."
Mhm.
At the same time, this was work from home in COVID. My 10-year-old daughter walked in my home office and she saw that I was in a bad mood and she asked me what's going on, papa, because I have French Canadian background. So it's not dad, it's papa at home. So she's 10 years old. And I look at her and I go, people find my book too complicated. I'm getting really bad reviews. It's too academic for them. And then I had a light bulb moment that triggered something that built my brand more than anything I'd done in my career and even I've done since. I looked at her, she's 10 years old, and I thought, what if I can explain
Hmm.
finance to her, financial literacy? We sit down and I'm like, okay, people think I write too complicated stuff. I'm going to explain to my 10-year-old what an interest rate is.
Mm-hmm.
how you can actually make money, like the money gets into your account without you having to lift a finger. You make money while you sleep, while you play with your friends. That's what an interest rate is. Your money
Yeah.
works for you. It's fascinating for a 10-year-old kid. And then I talk about compound interest. If you put money under the mattress versus investing it and get a rate of return. And she's there, she's standing, she's reacting, she's acting a little bit. I'm biased. She's my daughter, but she's really, really cute. At some
Yeah.
point, she goes, "Oh, I just had a finance epiphany." Anyways, we cut up these clips and we put them on LinkedIn. I didn't want them on other social media platforms because those are anonymous and people put nasty comments. But
Mm.
LinkedIn is very civilized that way, it's not anonymous. And they kind of go by LinkedIn standards,
Okay.
somewhat viral. And all of a sudden, I become this serious guy who talks about finance on CNBC with a tie, who's trying to explain finance to his daughter. And it took off. My company
Mm.
actually decided, because we have a program called Money Confident Kids for Financial Literacy, to record the videos for us. We did a series up until she turned 14. She's 15 now. You know what the crazy thing was? We did a series with a full production team, expert lighting, 6 cameras, animation, logos, branding. Those did not perform nearly as well as the low quality,
Yeah.
authentic webcam videos I did. I learned something about social media. You put a corporate branded post, or you put something authentic about the leader
Mm-hmm.
doing something more personal, being a bit more vulnerable, and the performance will be all towards the authentic content. This is what happened with the CEO of McDonald's. The
Yeah.
problem, the problem
No
is,
one coached him on
well, the
certain
problem is
things.
when it's hard to fake authenticity. And the
Yeah.
problem is if you try to fake authenticity, then it's really bad and
Yeah.
people see it.
I think he needed to do undercover boss a little bit just to
Right.
like understand what it would like what the people that show up at McDonald's actually look like and what you know what I mean? I think it could have been a little I
Hey,
think there's just a little too much distance from his
but
customer base.
But
That's just my thought.
you talk about personal brands. This is the new
Yeah.
thing. CEOs want to build a brand on social because it works, and they have these massive teams, and they get scripted, and it's professional and it's
Yeah.
polished, but it's trying to look casual, walking out of an elevator, right?
I actually had this conversation with my co-founder. We shot a podcast a couple days ago talking about this. But basically, part of it is that because I've been in corporate, PR and marketing and things like that, and you're more of a yes person than an agency brought in. I will tell that person the hard truth.
Yeah.
That's why you hired me. So I would have been instead of saying yes, say product. That's great. Here's your script. Learn it. I would be like, no, no one calls it. No one calls it a product. Is there cheese food in that? Like, what are you doing?
And then you take just a small bite. It's a bit
Yeah,
comical.
I saw another one where he like looks like he's white. He's spitting it out.
You know
They
what
do a
was
Zoom.
fun?
I
What was
mean,
fun
it's
was the response from the competitors. Who then, it's a kind of it seems like a pretty fun
I mean,
advertising industry
yeah,
here.
I think that the all bad press is always you can always spin it and sales went up because of it too. So it's you never really know how things are going to be done, but definitely I would take it as a learning experience. But I like your example of a kind of is essentially showing your vulnerability because that you didn't and I don't think probably you intended to post those videos of you explaining it with your daughter. Yeah, but you're just thought this is just like really interesting and kind of like I think the other thing too, the kind of going back to why people made those snarky comments, some people just want to do that because they're angry that you did something that they didn't, or maybe they can't understand it. Sometimes people are visual learners, and maybe you talking about it and having expressions and that helped your daughter learn than reading it in a book that is just like, I don't understand. I would
Yeah.
I would see it more kind of from a visual standpoint, kind of trying to like, okay, that makes sense, you know?
Yeah, that I agree with that. And that's the beauty of short form videos where you can put
Yes.
in visuals. But again, you don't want to overproduce the content. The
No, I
bottom line for
agree.
me is at some point we posting these videos, we try highly produced ones, they don't perform as well. We go back to more authentic one, we go back to recording from our home, and the
Hmm.
content evolves.
Yeah.
And at some point I win this award called the Top Voices for Finance on LinkedIn.
Uh-huh.
And I received the notification of the award. And I'm thinking, this is about, I'm actually posting sophisticated financial content every day. And I start reading it, and it's about the financial education videos I done with my daughter, Olivia. So I sit down with her and I go, look, this is nice. I look at this. And she looks at it and she reminds me in no uncertain term that this is not my award whatsoever, that the award is hers. So
Not even
today,
gonna
Claire,
split
for
it
your
with you?
podcast, I'm going to clarify the Top Voice Award is Olivia Page's, not mine.
Okay. All right. No, so kind of because you were talking about videos, and then the one that you expect, the one that you maybe didn't expect to do as well is the one that's gone viral and that's done as well. So I a lot of times you'll have a CEO or a team that is so focused on the metrics. They want every video to be viral. They want everything to be perfect. Like you kind of, they have to be perfectly produced. Everything has to be perfect. And they don't want to kind of show a little bit of imperfection because probably, yeah, in the middle of COVID, what was perfect about anything going on then? And so, how do you deal with someone that's kind of wants everything to be perfect, wants to micromanage everything, and is completely focused on just the metrics? How many
There,
followers do I have? Things like that.
there are venues where you want, in general, production quality will help.
Yeah.
I'm sure, Claire, for your podcast, you're mindful of the sound quality and the image and how it downloads. And if you buy a TV ad, you can probably get away with something low quality, but generally high production quality will be valuable. It's really social media. That's
Hmm.
it's just a whole new world of marketing and branding and the intersection of an executive's personal brand and the company's brand. That's where it's happening. And we're all learning by trial and error.
Yeah.
And we're learning that, yes, you have to accept. Yeah, I'll tell you something. So, the next set of episodes I'm doing with my daughter about financial literacy, I'm teaching her finance. I go, look, my webcam is not that high quality. Like, let's go back to just normal production. But hey, can you actually bring a professional camera and just so that it looks good, and not good enough?
Yeah.
So a couple people come with professional cameras, they set up the shot, and the top of the computer shows in the shot.
Mm.
And they go, "Oh, I got to adjust the camera." I go, "No, no, 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 no. Leave it there." Right? So maybe I was saying before, like, you don't want to fake authenticity. Maybe I was doing a little
Yeah.
bit of that.
Yeah.
But you know what they did too? Is they got out of the room and we had this shot that it was high quality, but it really, and then with no one in the room, not a big production crew looking at us, we did have a real conversation with some of her
Yeah.
real reactions.
It doesn't feel as performative.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
I got to say though, she's a pretty good actress. So when one shot was bad or she like a complete nonsensical answer, I would say, "Hey, you want to say that again?" And I maybe that's her calling. She's 15 now. We haven't done it in a
Yeah.
little while. But I guess all we're talking about, Claire, here is the intersection of personal branding and corporate branding for
Yeah.
executives, how this interplays with leadership, and this fascinating area of social media where you have to learn that authenticity plays and that overproduced things don't work as well. All of
If
these things are in balance. And it's,
right.
I got to say, you can't really predict what's going to
Yeah.
perform. You
I
have to
mean,
try.
yeah, I think that's a good point because I think if you come only from a corporate background, having you have like bigger budgets, better cameras, everything should be perfect. And the lack of perfection, it seems more spontaneous. It seems more authentic. It seems more like I caught you in a moment. And so that could be just one of the biggest keys. But I also think you're a little scared because you
Yeah.
think about McDonald's CEO.
Yeah.
And maybe
And
that had an unbelievable amount of planning, but it didn't look like it.
yeah. And yeah, it looked like, yeah. But you say I caught you in the moment. It looks like I caught you in the moment. If you caught me in the moment, that's even better
Yeah.
than if it looks like you caught me in a moment.
Well,
And
that's
that,
why the videos with your daughter did so well, because it was you were caught in a moment. You
yeah,
just you filmed it. It wasn't like, oh, let's, remember we did that thing a couple of days ago? Let's do it again.
yeah. I'll give you another quick example. I go on CNBC to give our financial views. I usually talk for 5 minutes. It's very high pressure. It's a whole thing. And
Mhm.
CNBC is nice because they often produce a clip for you and then talk about personal branding, corporate branding. Companies
Yeah.
use those clips to show those two words I used earlier, thought leadership.
Mhm.
So I go on CNBC, I get a really nice clip. I post it on LinkedIn. And a couple days later, just sort of randomly, I get a photo of our PR colleague who took a photo just of me on the set of CNBC at the New York Stock Exchange.
Uh-huh.
And it's like a blurry photo as a behind the scenes. And I just post that and I go, like, behind the scenes, this was a fun time at CNBC. Claire, which one do you think performed better? The random
The
blurry photo
behind the
behind the scenes?
scenes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yes.
by 10x.
Yes.
So
Yes.
strange. I
I
have this
mean,
really
not
nice video
really.
clip that's super high quality, and it's like,
I mean, from doing this for as long as I have, it makes sense to me. And I will be honest, like but sometimes getting that is hard, especially if you are by yourself. So you have to like set your camera up on a tripod and be like behind the scenes. So it
right.
becomes less authentic and less caught in a moment. But I do believe that behind the scenes are a very important kind of content pillar a lot of times for me and for our team. So they're a lot harder to get
Yeah.
because I don't have someone sitting here next to me in my recording studio. Awesome. This has been such a fun conversation, Sebastian. I really loved it. So if you could give someone 3 to 5 tips to using, the leadership skills that you talk about, but using those and building a personal brand, what are 3 tips that you would give?
Long-term vision. That's how you become inspirational.
Mm,
Authenticity, with all the nuances we just discussed,
right.
and vulnerability. If you can combine these with confidence and knowledge, you got the beginning, the main ingredients of a strong personal brand.
I love it. I love it. And great little soundbite there. Love it. Thank you so much, Sebastian, for being here. I really appreciated the conversation. It was a lot of fun.
Likewise, Claire. Thank you.
Yeah. And where can people find out more about you? Just so we do that. We'll make sure it's in the description box, but please tell people where they can find you.
My book is The Psychology of Leadership, top 10 leadership book of 2025. Can find it on Amazon is the easiest way. Find me on Instagram, X, or actually, I'm not that big on X.
And LinkedIn.
Instagram.
Find all those viral posts.
Exactly. Let's just go to LinkedIn. That's the best place to actually find me.
Okay.
And there you go.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. And thank you for listening and watching. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye.